宝妈，你现在对美国是一个什么看法？
总觉得不太安全。如果让我晚上一个人出去，我不敢。
以前对美国的印象挺好的，认为是世界上最先进的国家。但是自从得了新冠以后，就感觉不行了，乱哄哄的，种族歧视、枪支泛滥，所以给我们的感觉就是美国乱哄哄的。
那两人是我的爸妈，他们对美国的担忧，那我相信有很多在其他海外的华人，还有他们的家人都有同样的担忧。那不仅是华人，很多其他的亚洲人也会有同样的担忧。那今天我有幸采访一位武术大师，在自我防御上有40多年的经验。那他给的建议，我觉得能对很多我们的亚洲朋友有非常好的一些帮助。
Bully is bullied in the first place. That's how they learn that behavior, and no one's stopping it at some point, so they think it's going to be okay. And sometimes these bullies get pleasure out of inflicting that type of pain and abuse on somebody else, and when they see them cry or they see them, kind of shield themselves away from, say, that hand coming up, it gives them great pleasure to do that. The bully is trying to pinpoint and say, this is what makes a good victim. Maybe it's somebody that doesn't even give you eye contact and is just really shy.
Because I always wonder how bullies pick their targets and what do they define as easy target, because I don't think they're going to mess up with someone who's going to stand up for themselves.
Absolutely. Or you look like you'll defend yourself. That's the other thing, because perception is huge, right? And if this bully perceives me as this is not a victim, they move on to an easy target. I always like to say a bully or a criminal is looking for Bambi.
Right.
They're not looking for Bambi's mom. They're not looking for Bambi's dad. They know they're going to put up a fight. But they're looking for little Bambi that's just all to themselves, all alone, real quiet, doesn't speak up for themselves, and doesn't look at you when you talk to them. All these different things show that they're fearful. There's layers to self-defense, right? One of those layers is just keeping a distance away from you, right? A safe distance. Well, if you can't punch or kick me, you can't hurt me right now. And so there's one thing that we call the fence. When I'd be standing up in my fighting stance, I'm keeping my hands open like this. It doesn't look like I'm confrontational, but it looks like I maybe protect myself, or at least my hands are up to stop you from hitting me in the head. But I'm also using my voice in such a way that maybe can diffuse the situation. Now here in Krav Maga, what we use is called command presence. You'd hear police officers maybe saying something to one of the criminals out there when they're getting crazy, and they would say something that would get their attention and hopefully diminish that situation as quickly as possible. It might sound something like this: "Back off now!"
Wow.
That my hands, and I'm screaming at you and I look intense. Would you perceive me as a victim?
No.
Would you perceive me as somebody that would actually defend myself? Verbal self-defense really is a precursor to actual physical self-defense. The psychology I'm going to kind of really roll with is the psychology of a criminal.
Okay.
Because if I'm really trying to choose my victim, I'm going to be very specific on what I'm looking for. I'm going to look for somebody that's distracted. Maybe they're walking down the street and they're just staring at their phone and swiping. That's going to be a victim for me, because I can sneak up on them. They didn't even know I was coming. Other things maybe to perceive as a criminal looking for a victim is size. Maybe just simply their size. Maybe they're a petite type person, and you're like, well, I'm just way bigger than them. I'm going to just manhandle them.
Okay.
Of course, we could find out quite differently. That may not be the case now.
Yeah.
So other things that bullies are looking for, maybe from the physical perspective, is just looking odd. Other things is maybe a lack of assertiveness. It's just that person's disposition. Do they sit up straight? Do they have good posture? These types of things are things that people look at confident people and they're saying that's what a confident person looks like. Or maybe they just exude fear. And you can feel it coming at them. They're just fearful around anybody. Yeah, so when confronted by that bully and they're in your face and, you're starting to present that fence because they're looking for a reaction.
Okay.
Right? What are they looking for? They're looking for me to start bowing my head down a little bit, looking for me to have maybe some tears welling up on my eyes, maybe looking for me to fumble in my words because I can't talk right now because I'm so agitated as well, and I'm in fear. So the things that we need to really focus on is those words, telling them in a very assertive, very aggressive kind of fashion to back off now. That's the only thing a bully is going to understand at that moment. We say this, in Krav Maga we say, the way to stop violence is with a greater threat of violence.
Okay.
threat is what I said though, right? It's not that I hit you. It's just that it feels threatening when I yell right back at you, right? And if I'm maintaining my hands in a position where it's going to be really hard to hit me and I'm yelling at you, back off now, get out of my face. I don't want any problems.
Okay.
Does it feel like I'm the guy that's just going to be sitting there getting hit? No, not at all. But also what just happened too. Everybody's eyes are starting to come and look at this, what's happening right here. And right now I need as many people on my side as possible, and they need to know you're the bad guy. So my hands are open for a reason, right? This doesn't look confrontational.
Okay.
This looks much more confrontational. That bystander that's watching what's happening right now, and they're like, oh my God, this is terrible. You know what's happening to them, right? They might get frozen.
Exactly.
When we're talking about go into freeze mode.
Absolutely.
Because they're encountering their own fears watching. It's actually traumatic to them as well. Because what it made them feel was it made them feel unsure about themselves if they were met with that same situation, that they could even do anything for their own selves. Yeah, and we call that third-party protection. It's like where I step in, say this is the bad guy right here, and he's harassing you, and I step in right in front of him, and then I say that, get out of our face, back off, whatever it is, and then I'm assisting you and walking you backwards. I'm touching you. I'm touching you so I know where you're at, and I'm keeping my eye on this person the whole time, and I'm walking you back until I feel we're at a safe distance, and then we're going to take off. You can't ever let yourself get to a point where you're getting knocked so silly and so unconscious that they could just start stomping on your head on the concrete.
You have to fight back.
You have to fight back before that happens, because you have no chance at that point. So you have to put up the fight. It's always going to go back to some of those main few things that we've been talking about the whole time. The fence. You got to put up the fence between you and them, because the hands will deflect shots, cover shots. At least they're closer to your head, and we call this the supercomputer. So I have to protect the supercomputer with everything I got. Everything else you hit me with is not that big of a deal, but if you start hitting me in my brain, I might go unconscious instantly. I have to keep this working the whole time. So that's why the hands up. And plus, if I feel like you're going to be a threat, you know what? Time to hit them back first. Before they punch, fingers right to the eyes. Okay? Because we know how sensitive eyes are.
Absolutely.
Right? If you're 300 pounds and I stuck my fingers in your eyes, do you think it's going to hurt?
You can't see at all.
Yeah. Will you be blind?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that'll give me enough time to run away.
Absolutely.
Right then and there, while you can't see me where I'm running too, by the way.
Yeah.
Other things that we can do is just the movement of hands. Hey, buddy, I don't want any problems. Hey, calm down. And if they encroach that space, hit them in the throat. It's not going to kill them, okay? It's going to give them esophageal spasm. They're going to go, and then they can't run and chase me anymore, okay? So those are a couple of the main weapons we would use in actual confrontation. Sometimes we call it an educational push, right? So if you're encroaching my space, I actually palm strike you right in the chest and push myself away from you and create more distance.
All right.
But it's a hard shot now, so you can't underestimate how hard you can actually hit with the palm of your hand.
Palm strike. All right.
Another thing that we can look at is the palm strike to the chin.
Oh, I've had that one. It hurts.
So this is a wicked one, right? Because this is going to cause the brain slosh, which creates the knockout. That's where concussion comes from. Accelerate the brain super fast into the skull. Good night. But also, it's a 2-for-1 strike. So as we hit here, what does it look like my fingers can go? Exactly right. Okay, so it's a 2-for-1 shot. And I know you won't be able to see for at least a minute or two, because my hands are closer to your face than your hands are closer to my face. That's why I can actually beat you to the strike if I feel like you're about to strike me. That's why all this stuff is so important, because I'm ready. There's a little saying that we have in Krav Maga, and it's this. Don't mistake my kindness for weakness.
Yeah,
I'm always going to walk around kind, loving, love people, trying to do my best for you. I try to serve you, whatever you need, man. I'm here for you. But I'm going to be like that until the moment I have to be violent. And that's where it's going to go then. And it's just like you have this switch.
Yeah.
And the switch makes you go from nice human being.
Yeah.
But I'm also an animal. switch, and I could become a very violent animal if necessary. You have to believe in yourself in the first place. I know a lot of people that have low self-esteem, but they're going to have to learn how to get something that makes them feel good about themselves, right? Just believe in yourself. Confidence is it's like a muscle, right? You know, and that's why it's imperative for parents to instill all this confidence in your kids, because, you know, just like a muscle, if you work on it over and over again, what happens to that muscle? It grows, gets stronger, right? So I feel, you know, it's the parent's role right from the get-go to instill that confidence. But if we find ourselves in this place that we're not feeling it so much, you're gonna have to do things that edify you, that build you up. Read the right books. You know, you're gonna have to do something. How are you gonna make it on earth if you don't believe in yourself?
Right.
You know, how are you gonna get a job if you don't even believe you can get a job? How are you gonna ever defend yourself if you don't think you can actually defend yourself? Yes, I can. I am good enough. I am smart enough. I can defend myself.
Magical
you know, you
three words.
start talking to yourself and programming yourself. This is software.
Yeah.
We got to look at it as software. Can it be changed?
Yeah.
Most definitely can be changed.
Absolutely.
It can be reprogrammed. And that's the key, is like, if you're in the stage where you don't have that confidence, you're gonna have to reprogram yourself to find that confidence again.